Welcome to the On Your Side podcast. I'm Gary Harper.
And I'm Susan Campbell. How many times a day are you Googling for answers to your questions?
You may have even Googled to find us. And of course, we're happy you're here. Today, we're chatting with Bailey Tomson. She's a Google Trends expert.
We're going to go behind the scenes of some of the most recent trends that millions of people are searching. Everything from how much to tip to what we're dreaming about.
This is On Your Side with Susan Campbell and Gary Harper, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.
Okay, welcome to the On Your Side podcast. I'm Gary Harper.
And I'm Susan Campbell.
Hello, Susan.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. It seems like we spend a lot of time on the internet these days, right? I mean...
It's where you go for everything.
That's where, you want to look up a recipe?
Go online.
You want to look for travel deals?
Go online.
Exactly. You know what's trending right now?
What?
Susan Campbell.
Oh, gosh. I hope that's a good thing.
Everybody wants to know Susan Campbell.
I wonder what pops up if you Google my name.
Well, number one podcaster.
Okay, I'll take it.
Take a compliment when you
I
get
like it. I like it. Is your name right behind there, or are you trying to compete with me?
No, there's no competition. I'm at the bottom. In fact, I didn't even make the list.
Oh, man, we got to fix that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Everybody start Googling Gary Harper.
Yeah, well, you might find stuff you're not happy with.
I think he's got a 3-star review on Yelp, I think.
I can't make it past 3 stars. Oh, thanks for that, Todd. That's Todd, our audio engineer. But yeah, we use Google and all these search engines for all kinds of things. And there seems to be a trend, I guess, when people start looking for stuff, they kind of start adding up into a category that's popular.
Yeah, well, I think you can learn a lot about what's interesting people when you kind of see what people are actually searching for, right?
Right. So we're going behind the scenes,
Let's
as you say, right? Behind the scenes.
Love it.
With Google to see what some of the latest search trends are. Today we're talking to Bailey Tomson. She's a Google Trends expert, of course, with Google. Hello. How are you doing today, Bailey?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are y'all?
Oh, we're doing great. You and I were talking a little earlier. You've been with Google for 5 years. And your job, it must be fascinating to see what people are looking up on Google and seeing some of the more popular categories and some of the popular questions.
It is. I think it's interesting to see that a lot of us are asking the same questions. So it's validating. Maybe that's fascinating and validating sometimes. But yeah, it's really interesting to see what folks are searching across the country.
It's always fascinating to me when you start typing in your question and it autofills exactly what you needed. And you're like, man, Google is spot on that one. How did they know?
Yeah. I mean,
Exactly.
Talk about that, Bailey. When you're typing in something into Google and it automatically everything populates for you, what does that mean?
Some of it is trend. So if you think about this past month, Cinco de Mayo is on May 5th. So if you start typing in what to drink on Cinco de Mayo, then you're probably not alone. Then we've got some good AI technology that we're working on that we announced earlier this month during I/O. So just trying to work to make searching easier and a bit more functional for our users.
AI is kind of the hot topic right now. Everybody is talking about the advancements in the technology, the concerns with the technology. How is AI used to help with searches?
We're still just figuring it out right now. It's with a bunch of trusted testers to make sure that when we roll it out boldly, but also responsibly, that we're doing it right. And as you said, we're mitigating that risk. So it's still really early stages, but it's really exciting time to be a part of this new technology.
So you mentioned Cinco de Mayo. We also know that tipping has been a hot topic for a lot of people, and it's kind of been a conversation in the newsroom among all of us.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness, it feels like everybody's asking for a tip. How much am I supposed to tip? Do I have to tip when I'm picking up my own food? What did you find in those trends this month?
You're right. Tipping culture, that phrase has actually doubled over the past year, and folks are going to Google to understand, should I tip just because they turned the screen around and it says, 10, 15, 25, do I need to press it? So a lot of people are trying to understand when to tip. If there's a service charge, do we also have to pay a delivery fee? If there's a service charge, do I also need to tip with a restaurant service fee? What are these different things? And then the biggest question is, why do restaurants add gratuity for large parties? So folks have all the questions, and we're all trying to understand tipping before we get have to actually write it down.
Well, it's kind of you're kind of caught off guard because you go to pay and you're at a fast food place or somewhat of a fast food place, and it's asking, do you want to tip 15, 20, or 25%? I'm like, I don't want to tip anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, you stop and think about it, and then all of a sudden, you do go home and you go, was I supposed to tip? Maybe you decide not to, and then you feel bad about it, or
Right.
at least I do. It's in my mind all day, like, oh gosh, did I ruin somebody's day?
Well, you're on the spot because the person is looking at you, looking to see if you tap 15 or 20%, and you're hesitating there, going, you're getting paid to.
So do you normally give in?
It depends. It really depends on the situation. I'm a very, very good tipper at like sit down restaurants, but yeah, it really depends on. I just picked up some Mexican food the other day, and it was to go, and she was looking at me with the tipping thing, and I was like, I don't feel
But
like
you walked in,
Yes.
you picked it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just wasn't. I wasn't feeling
That's
it.
why people are Googling about it.
I wasn't feeling it that day. So talk about tipping here. We got number one on Google Trends. The number one question: why do restaurants add gratuity for large parties? Number two: why does America tip so much? You a good tipper?
I think I'm a good tipper. Yeah, but it is fascinating. I mean, I spent time studying abroad when I was in college.
Yeah.
And it was so different. You don't really tip very much in Europe. So I think when people, it's a total cultural thing.
I was a waiter and a bartender back in the day. So, yeah, I kind of give in to the tipping thing. Yeah, I know where they're coming from. Number three, why does tip not show on credit cards? Number four, why has tipping become so controversial? And number five, why is tipping so big in America? So I guess everybody has a lot of questions about these, and it's kind of funny how you can categorize this. What other categories are really popular right now?
Adulting. So I guess tipping kind of is a nice leeway into adulting, but search interest in as an adult is at a record high this month. And folks are asking a bunch of questions. As an adult, how do I do this? So the top questions were how to make friends as an adult. Folks trying to, whether they move to a new city, well, they're just ready to start over. How do I make friends? How to get tested for autism as an adult. I think it's something we typically associate with kids. So later in life, how do I figure out if I have autism? How to learn Spanish as an adult. Number four is how to get tested for ADHD as an adult. And the last one is how to go back to school as an adult. So really across the board, different questions about being an adult.
Wow, that really says a lot. I mean,
It's so fascinating.
Listen to some of those questions that just popped up. That's amazing.
Well, I mean, they're concerns, they're personal issues, and maybe sometimes things you don't want to talk with somebody else about until you feel like you have just a little bit of extra information.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
So you start the fact finding on your own,
Right.
and then you can reach out to the right people when you feel like you have a little bit of a grasp.
Right, and that it's normal too. I mean,
Yeah.
particularly if it says, can an adult have autism, and it automatically populates, and you're like, okay, whew, I'm not alone in this, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, sporting events, very hot topic. We got the NBA going on right now. What are you finding in that category when it comes to Google searches?
So the conference finals just wrapped. Miami Heat and Denver Nuggets are headed to the finals tomorrow, as you said. So leading up to throughout the month with the conference finals, folks were searching for Jimmy Butler. He was the top trending player. The Miami Heat was the top trending team in the playoffs, even before they got to the finals. And folks were searching for the teams that were still in the finals. So across the country, we saw a lot more people searching for the LA Lakers than any of the other top four teams.
A lot of this stuff is regional, sports especially, but not, it's not necessarily all about sports when we get to regional kinds of trends. How does where we live play a part in what we're interested in?
It's interesting. So when I use the LA Lakers as an example, you saw that folks were searching LA Lakers across the country, but the WNBA, tipped off on May 19th. And in looking at the trends around the teams they were searching, it's way more regional than I've seen in other trends. So you had in California, folks looking for the LA Sparks. You had folks in Phoenix looking for the Phoenix Mercury. So that was probably one of the first times I've really seen such a difference in really regional trends. I think a lot of times, like when we looked at food that people were searching for Memorial Day, a lot of folks were looking for pork across the country. So it really varies.
Why is this something that Google tracks? What is this information used for?
It's really just interesting. I think we've said it a couple of things. Some of it's validating. So am I searching for things that other people are validating? It also it's just fascinating. I think it's a fun way to see what's happening, see what's happening that month, see what's happening around the world and what people are interested for. So it's more fun than anything else. We're not tracking anything, just trying to share some fun information that folks are doing on search.
What about the food category? Do you see a lot of people looking for, what do I cook for Memorial Day, or what do I cook for July 4th?
Yes, food is always an interesting topic, and we see it kind of across. We talked about Cinco de Mayo being on the 5th, people wanting to know what food and drinks that they should make. Memorial Day this past weekend, folks wanting to understand what they should be making for their barbecue. And barbecue chicken was the top searched item, with potato salad and macaroni salad right behind. So some good carbs on the side, and then chicken kebabs and barbecue baked beans behind that. So yeah, food is always on people's minds, whether it's recipes or wanting to understand, what's appropriate to bring to some sort of event.
That's where I always start my recipe searches. You have to just kind of put it out there and then look through a million options and see what kind of seems like the best recipe.
Do you ever come across anything new like, wow, that sounds really good? I think I'll make it.
Every so often, yeah. There are some really good ones. I will say, though, if I am, those recipes that start with like a really long blog post about
I scroll right through it.
I don't even bother clicking on it. I'm just like, give me the ingredient list. I can't handle your story. This is too much. Please stop.
So funny because I was smoking a pork shoulder this weekend and I wanted to try the new way. And I, just like you said, I would go to some recipes and I'm like scrolling. I'm like, I don't need to hear your life lessons on smoking a pork shoulder.
And it's probably a super sweet story. It's probably a family recipe that goes back generations, and an adorable great grandma was so kind to pass it down, and it's her secret. And I just...
Yeah, just give me the directions, how hot, and what to put in it.
Right.
What other hot categories are out there when it comes to people searching?
Well, you brought up recipes. The coronation happened at the beginning of the month as well, and a lot of folks were searching for food to make at the coronation, or I guess in celebration for the coronation. The coronation chicken, which is like, I think basically a chicken salad, what we call chicken salad. So that was really fun. And then another really... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, when you look at these Google trends, is this just America trends, or is this like world trends?
So the trends that I'm sharing today are focused on the U.S., but you can go to google.com/trends and see across the country, across the world, and another country. So it's all available to see the aggregated anonymized data.
So people here in America wanted to know what to cook for the king's coronation over the pond.
Yeah, and where to watch it and what the significance of it was, when it was. So really, really interested in the event.
Electric vehicles are pretty hot right now. Do you find a lot of people looking up EVs?
It wasn't something that was trending this month nationally, but it's definitely something that's top of mind. And like I said, you can go to google.com/trends and see, you can kind of dial into any topics that are interesting to you.
How about gas prices? Is that a hot one?
Gas prices tend to trend. Any sort of just national event, any sort of, again, going there to look for what's happening. Yeah, gas prices are top of mind, of course. You
mentioned dreams in one of your trends reports. People want to know what they're dreaming about.
Yeah, people went to Google to this kind of goes back to what we've been talking about, fascinating versus validating, trying to understand what it means when you have a dream about someone. That was the top trend. Folks were also looking about what it means when you have dreams about snakes. I don't know if you've ever dreamed about snake, but the third one really resonated with me. What does it mean when you dream about your teeth falling out?
Oh, gosh.
I think, yeah, I've had that dream before.
That came in. You have had that dream?
Oh, yeah. When you wake up and you kind of like, okay, they're still there, right?
Yeah, your teeth falling out came in as number 3. Number 1 is, what does it mean when you dream about someone? And number 2 was snakes.
Ugh.
Number 3, your teeth falling out. Number 4, your ex.
Ooh. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, right. And then number 5, being pregnant.
Have you had that dream, Gary?
No, but I have had several dreams, and I love when I have these dreams flying. I don't know what it means, but that's so cool.
Like not in an airplane. You're flying like
actually,
a bird.
like flying like a bird.
Oh,
yeah.
That's cool.
Very cool. Yeah, and then I wake up and I'm like disappointed because I can't fly. But
Man, but that must be amazing.
Yeah,
I've never had that dream before. I've also never had a dream about my teeth falling out. I'm going to go and Google what both of those mean after we're done with this podcast.
What the heck does that mean? Oh my gosh. Do you ever wake up from a dream and go, oh my God, thank God that was a dream because that was terrible.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
What would happen if we Google? What's gonna pop up?
Well, you'll see Google Trends. You'll probably see news about Google. We have a blog post or a keyword blog, so that will pop up. So resources, there's stuff to Google about everything.
That is really cool. Hey, listen, we really appreciate you being on the On Your Side podcast today. If people want to know more about you or Google, I mean, I guess they could just go to Google and just type everything in, right?
That's right. Google.com/trends, and you can be your own trends expert.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for joining us on the On Your Side podcast. It's been really fun. I really liked some of the topics and categories that we covered.
Makes you think.
What are we going to dream about tonight?
Yeah. Ooh, I don't know. We'll report back next podcast.
Yes, we'll let everybody know. All right, well, listen, have a great day. And again, thank you.
Thanks for having me. You too. Bye-bye.
The On Your Side podcast is produced by Brad Denny. Our audio engineer and editor is Todd Martin. Segment producer is Colin Stanton. And I'm Gary Harper.
And I'm Susan Campbell. If you have a problem you can't resolve, maybe we can. Send us a message through azfamily.com or our AZ Family mobile app. Look for the On Your Side section and leave us a message. Thanks so much for listening to the On Your Side podcast. And if you like it, leave us a review. We'll see you next week.
On Your Side is on Good Morning Arizona every weekday morning at 6:45 and 7 o'clock, and every weekday evening on Good Evening Arizona at 4 and 5 o'clock. You can also catch it on Arizona's Family News at 9 on 3TV every weeknight.